Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and today we're featuring a vehicle that I really don't feature very often at all. It's one of the oldest vehicles in World of Tanks, the original Soviet Tier 7 tank destroyer, the Su-152, and it's being played for us today by Ernie LP in a standard battle on the Kharkov map. Unfortunately for Ernie, in his Tier 7 tank destroyer, this is a Tier 9 battle. However, the Su-152 can punch above its weight because it's armed, by default, with a 152mm howitzer. Pretty much exactly the same kind of gun that makes the KV-2 so much fun to play. The 152mm howitzer isn't the only gun available on the Su-152. It also has a choice of two 122mm anti-tank guns. These guns both fire the same standard 390 alpha damage, 175mm of penetration Soviet 122mm shells. The only real difference between the two guns is one has superior rate of fire and still bad, but superior accuracy. A lot of people playing the Su-152 stick with the stock howitzer for what should be obvious reasons. You can damage anything with it. In fact, you can even one-shot some Tier 7 vehicles if you manage to penetrate with high explosive. But the pair of 122mm guns, while you can struggle to penetrate if you're down-tiered, boast some of the most impressive rate of fire and DPM of any machines in the game. Ernie LP, however, is sticking with the tried and tested 152mm howitzer, spamming those high explosive and every now and then high explosive anti-tank shells, and considering that he is in a Tier 9 battle, that's probably a very good thing. Naturally, Ernie derps his first shot. I mean, the accuracy on this gun is absolutely horrific. 0.5 dispersion at 100 meters, and the targets that he's engaging here are substantially further than 100 meters away. It is lucky, really, that the Su-152 does get such a decent selection of guns to choose from, because absolutely everything else about this machine is pretty bad. While it does have a top speed of 43 km per hour, it's very sluggish and struggles to reach that speed. Its view range and radio range are both terrible, and its armour is just dreadfully bad. There are medium tanks that this thing is going to be expected to fight that can load high explosive and penetrate the sides and sometimes even the front, providing they don't hit the gun mantlet, penetrate and do full damage. So do try to not get shot at. Of course, thanks to this machine's terrible view range and signal range, in order for you to not get shot at, you're pretty much going to have to be relying on your teammates to spot the targets for you, making full use of cover and concealment where possible. Pretty much exactly the way Ernie LP is doing here. Oh, he's got a T-30 to shoot at. Well, he's never going to penetrate a T-30, but the high explosive, well, would have done some damage if he'd actually hit it. I have no idea where that shell went. Oh well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Then again, if any Swedish tank destroyers pop up that you absolutely can penetrate with your high explosive, shoot at them instead. Come on, reload. Nope, he's gone. Where's the T-30? There he is. Ooh, side shot. Yes, there we go. 635 damage. Now that's what we're talking about. And that wasn't even a penetration. It's just the T-30 side armour is so bad that they take that much damage from high explosive shells. Oh, hang on, situation developing over here. Friendly UDES running away. Enemy scouts sweeping around the flank. Let's back him up. And there's one less enemy to worry about. Unfortunately, Ernie has now found himself in the extremely unenviable position in the Su-152 of being spotted. And the UDES that he moved forward to support is running away. So, remember Ernie, no good deed goes unpunished. However, there's a certain amount of fear that this gun inspires into vehicles with exceptionally weak armour. Also the fact that a Conqueror has turned up to help support the flank, which is providing serious amounts of discouragement for these lighter enemy vehicles to get any closer than necessary. That Conqueror is definitely putting the fear of God into these guys. There's also an extremely brave Waffenträger Panzer IV who's sitting in the open there, with not much more health than Ernie. But, well, it's good to see that the Conqueror is getting support, not just from the tank destroyers, but also from the artillery. And oh, hang on a second. Can we get a penetrate? Yes, yes! Yeah, now that's what we're talking about. That was how much damage you can expect to do, with only a moderately good damage roll with the high explosive shells on this thing, if you penetrate the armour. Oh, and speaking of things that you can absolutely wipe out in one hit with one of these shells, although it doesn't really seem worth the effort anymore now. Super Hellcat over there robbed of almost all of his health already. Well, we'll leave him to someone else. There's a target over here with a lot more. No, he's out of line of sight. God damn it. It's still a fairly close battle. I mean, they're only winning by 1 kill. And they do still have 3 of their tier 9s. The enemy team only have 2, having lost their T30. But, well, if you look at the map, Ernie's T30 is still sitting in the spawn and hasn't moved an inch this entire game, so he's either AFK or he's just seriously, shockingly bad. Whichever it is, it does kind of even things out just a little bit for the enemy team. Now, on the one hand, things are going to start getting a lot worse for the enemy team before they start getting any better. They've just lost another tank. Ernie's team are now up by 2 kills. And there's not a lot of resistance remaining between Ernie's team and the enemy cap. It's at this point, as the team goes ahead yet another kill, that, well, the Japanese called it victory disease. Here in World of Tanks, I think we like to call it the no cap kill all syndrome. There are only 4 enemies left, and they're pulling the occasional kill back here and there, but Ernie's team still enjoy a 2 kill advantage, and that advantage is going to get better. They're now down to 2 surviving tanks, and if Ernie has anything to do with it, they're going to be down to 1 surviving tank as he manoeuvres to deliver an extremely unwelcome dose of surprise butt sex to the enemy SU-152. The team have an LT-432 who's within spitting distance of the enemy cap circle, and if he decided to start capping now, there would be almost nothing the enemy team could do about it. Ernie's just getting himself into position. Remember, surprise butt sex, best kind of butt sex. There are now only 2 enemy tanks left. The LT-432 doesn't appear to know which way he wants to go. But those 2 surviving enemy tanks are both tier 9s, and they're very strong tier 9s, an Object 257 and an E75. On top of that, they're both pretty much on full health, and Ernie's team only have 1 tier 9 left, the Conqueror, and he does not have a lot of health. The ELC down there is a one-shot kill. Ernie is a one-shot kill. The artillery, who's just died, was a one-shot kill. The LT-432 has less than 200 health and is also, obviously, a one-shot kill. The dead artillery is giving some extremely good advice here, and you can probably guess what it is, even if you're viewing this video on a screen with too small resolution to actually see it in chat. One of you, please get into that cap circle. Obviously, it's going to be next to impossible for the Conqueror to successfully disengage from the fight that he's in down there to the south and get up to the enemy cap circle, but any of the other 3 surviving tanks could do it. And the very act of sitting inside the enemy cap circle would be putting immense pressure on that Object 257 and E75 down there, because they could either choose to stay where they are and just fight it out with the Conqueror and lose by capping, or attempt to respond to the cap and break out from their current positions where they're dug in like fleas on a dog's back, exposing themselves to, well, probably a fatal amount of fire, in which case the team wins by killing everybody. And the guy who chose to sit in the cap circle has the consolation of getting himself some capture points to make up for any experience and credits that he may have lacked by not getting any further damage in. The point is, somebody sitting in that cap circle gives the team options that they don't have right now, because instead they're choosing to kill everything, and the 2 tanks that they're choosing to kill don't seem to want to die, and have in fact just nailed the Conqueror, which was the team's last best chance, aside from Ernie himself, of actually finishing these 2 guys off. Even at this point, either the LT-432 or the ELC even 90 could, and probably should, although it's too late for the ELC even 90 because he's just died, have headed back to that cap circle to put some pressure on the surviving Object 257, because Ernie just finished off the E75. Admittedly, Ernie wouldn't have been in a position to get the killing shot on the E75 if the LT-432 had not been where he was and spotting the targets. But now they absolutely definitely have to kill that Object 257, because if the LT-432 goes back to the cap circle, Ernie's not going to be able to see him to shoot at him. And if Ernie goes back to the cap circle, the LT-432 isn't going to be able to penetrate the 257's armour. So now they have to work together and get that kill. Otherwise, they've basically thrown this game away. The problem here, of course, is that the LT-432 is on such low health, and the 257 knows exactly where he is, and is just waiting for him to pop out so he can kill him and rob Ernie of his eyes and ears. So the 432 is playing an extremely dangerous game of peekaboo here, but the 257 really isn't doing himself any favours. He keeps taking hits in the side from Ernie's 152mm howitzer, and bit by bit it is chipping his health away. What he really should be doing is going after that LT-432. Because if you look at the minimap, the 432 is actually stuck in an alcove of a ruined building, and if the 257 was to advance down the road towards him, the 432 would have to choose between cowering in his little shell crater and just waiting to die, or trying to run for it, and when he moves out into the road, the 257 will see him and have a shot at him. And even if he doesn't kill the 432, at least he'll no longer be sitting in the middle of an open field with an Su-152 pumping 152mm high explosive shells into his side. In fact, the only reason he isn't dead yet is that Ernie got extremely unlucky with the accuracy, or rather horrific inaccuracy, of the Su-152's gun. But, well, throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. So, an unnecessarily dramatic ending to a game that could and should have easily been won if only somebody had had the common sense to go and sit in the cap circle when the opportunity presented itself. But they didn't, so the team just had to do things the hard way. Nevertheless, extremely well done to Ernie for making the most of a pretty bad situation, and in a tier 7 tank destroyer in a tier 9 battle, doing 3,500 more damage than his team's 2 tier 9 tank destroyers combined, with a frankly staggering total of over 6,000 damage done in a bottom tier tank destroyer. Well done, Ernie. Thank you for sending it in. Everyone else, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.